Okay.
All right, the bell has rung. Thank you all for coming in and getting in your seats. I've noticed a couple of you have already started your bell work. Thank you. Is there anyone that needs pencil? Anyone that needs paper? You have your Crusader cash. You can buy some of each. Everybody's good. Okay. Well, if you do your bell work, it's just a review. You all have learned this a while ago, but it's going to tie into our new lesson today on the percent of a number. And we'll be taking some notes, so you will need your notebooks. And right after you finish your bell work, if you would go ahead and get your homework out from last night, I will just check it for completion and give you some Crusader cash for doing it.
Can I do the work on the board?
I would love for 4 people to volunteer to solve those, but I'm going to give everybody a chance to work them on their own first, and then I'll have 4 people. Alicia, you'd like to do it?
No.
John, you would like
John's
to
I
do
have
it?
a question.
Yes.
Do we have shore work?
Yes. In my class, and you probably hear me say it all the time, we always show our work. Nice job. And here are your notes.
Yeah.
Oh, did you do your homework lesson?
No.
No, okay. Next time, bring it tomorrow.
I did it.
Crusader Cash, thank you very much.
I didn't do my homework. Here's mine.
Okay, number 2.
One
I didn't
buck.
get it.
You didn't get
I
it?
didn't get it.
Did you try to do it? Did you put
I
some
One
tried,
notes
buck.
I
down?
just didn't get it.
That's okay. If you try.
But she didn't do her
you get
homework.
Crusader
I didn't
Cash.
do it.
Thank you for
She
trying.
didn't do her homework.
She told me I could bring it
I
tomorrow.
don't want to know the question.
Cause you don't get a magical book.
Yes, I do. She said I could.
No, she did not.
Yes, she did.
No
Crusader
exceptions.
Cash, you did your
No,
homework?
she told me I could.
I'm gonna
get
tell.
that. You go tell me.
You get half a buck.
Okay, Princeton.
That would be 50 cents.
That's cheating.
And Richard did his homework. Thank you. Thank you.
So you're the
All right,
only one who
I gave out a
didn't.
lot of
No,
good
John didn't
Crusader
do it either.
Cash for our
No, John did his homework.
our students that did homework. Who are my 4 volunteers that would like to go? I know Alicia said she'd like to. You can pick whichever one
She'll
you'd
do all
like.
4.
I
You can do
know-
one for me.
Anyone else? I have no other volunteers. Doug, are you sure you would like to go to the board? You're really good at math. And I know that I saw your bell work. You got it done. You got it correct. Go ahead and put any one of those up that you'd like.
Why
You
didn't
didn't
you
show
do
your
the-
work.
Why didn't you do the top
You
one,
didn't show your
Alicia?
work.
Alicia, why
Show
didn't you do
your
number
work.
1?
Richard, I can
Well,
go
yeah.
and show you one.
She acts like she's a math major.
Don't do this now, did you?
You don't have to write it beside, but if it's too high for you, you could write it anywhere. Thank you, Alicia. Everybody noticed what Alicia did. She actually showed you how she got her answer. I have no other volunteers, so I'll do the other 2. Good job.
Yeah, I could even
2
come close
tests.
to
Awesome.
reaching that.
Okay, so this is a review. Let's go over number 1. Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Alicia. We have 2 tenths. If you notice what he did is he moved the decimal place to where the 2 would be in the tenths column. Remember, the first column is your tenths column. The next one, 1 over 100, what you have to be careful with this one is this in your tenths column here, and which column is the next column over?
Hundredths.
That's your hundredths column. So make sure you put your 1 in your hundredths column and then fill in your 0. So you'll find that can be an easy mistake to make. Alicia came and did this one very well. She showed us how she took 23 over 100 and she simply moved the decimal place. Does anyone have an answer for this? They'd like to just raise their hand and give me an answer? 2.5. Correct. Because 25 over 100, is that a number, 25 over 10, sorry. Is that a number bigger than 1 or smaller than 1? 25 tens. You've got 2 groups of 10 in there, right? 2 groups of 10 and 5 more, so that makes you 2 and a half. So there's lots of ways to figure these out. Did anyone do them with their calculators? Because that's another way you could figure it out, but I prefer, of course, that you start this way. Good. Thank you all for helping out. And that's just a simple review. And what we'll do now is that we will go on to some notes. The notes are in your notebook, your next page, and we're going to be doing the percent of a number. A percent of a number. And if you'll copy this down. The essential question is, if you multiply a number by a percent that is less than 100, would the result be less than or greater than the original number? So we'll learn about that today. A percent, and this is really important, a percent is a part of 100. I do want everybody to make sure that you write down everything that you see here in your notebooks on your graphic organizer just as you see it, just as we do with all of our notes, okay? So a percent is a part of 100, and that's a really important thing. And how is a percent like a fraction or a decimal? We're also going to learn about that today. Now, some of you may be asking yourselves, why are we learning about percents? What does this have to do with real life or me or my life? So, some ways that we use real percents in our real life. Think about your grade at school. Do you get a percentage score on your tests? Does a 90% earn you an A? So percents count here in school. Is there a presidential election going on now? Does anybody have their parents watching the elections? Do they have to get a percent of the votes in order to be elected? So percents can mean a lot. How about shopping? Does anyone here like to go shopping with their mom and dad? I don't know about your mom and dad, but I always head straight to the sale racks. They're the ones with percent off on top of them. That way, you're buying something with a sale, so you're buying it for less. So there's a lot of ways that percents are in our lives, and it's important for us to learn about them. We're going to discuss the steps to find the percent of a number. The first step is to change the percent to decimal form. And then, I'll move this up for you so you can. And then we're going to multiply and then round to tenths. And we're going to practice this. Everybody had a chance to write that down? So let's review. 100% is all of something, right? 100% is the entirety. 100% is the whole piece. What we're going to look for now, we're going to practice, what is 15%? And so let's solve this. We're going to first change the percentage. We're going to change our percentage into a decimal form by putting 15 over 100. That's the first step. And then we can convert, because it's 15% of the whole, which is always going to be 100. So whatever percent you're given, you're going to put that percent over 100, and then do just what we did in our bell work. You're going to turn that into a decimal. Now that we have a decimal, 0.15, then we can multiply that by our whole. Here, 100% of it is 18, okay? 15% times 18, this is when you all can use your calculators. So 15% of 18 equals 2.7. 2.7. Now let's look at that and think about that. Is that reasonable? Does it make sense? Is that a number less than 18, our whole? Yes? Is it a whole lot less than 18? That's a little number. Would you expect that just 15% of something would be just a little bit of it? A lot less than half of it even, So it makes sense, it's reasonable. That answer's good, okay? Number two, 70% of 90. Again, we're gonna take the same format. We're gonna take our 70, make it into a fraction, 70 out of 100. Our part is 70, the whole is 100. We're gonna turn that into a decimal. Do I need the 0 at the end of the 7? Not really, it's extra, right? So I don't have to keep the 0 there, but I'm gonna multiply that times my whole. What's my whole here? Who can tell me what's the whole that I'm looking for the percentage of? Yes.
90.
Yes. Thank you. 90. And my answer is 63. Is that reasonable? Is that a number less than 90? Is it a whole lot less than 90? No. 70% is close to 100%. Yes.
Do I have to write it as a fraction, or can I just scoop the decimal?
I would like you for right now to write it as a fraction. However, just since you brought that up, that's my next point. Do you see that there's a pattern here? Who else, raise your hand if you see a pattern here when I'm changing my percentages into decimals? Anyone else see a pattern? Okay. So let's look at the next 8% of 125. What's the pattern that you see?
You scoop the decimal 2 times to the left.
That's exactly what we're going to do. Every percentage, 8 over 100, means that we're simply moving the decimal place 2 places over. So we're going from 8, 1, 2, and filling in the 0. We're moving 2 places to the left. So you might want to write that down, that you can move the decimal 2 places to the left. Does anyone want to try to move, and then you have to multiply, you've got 0.08 times your whole. 0.08 times 125 is 10. Normally I would ask you guys to jump in. So, does anyone want to tackle the next one for me? Does anyone want to guide me through it? Raise your hand if you'd like to. Or I'll keep going. All right. So we're going to move the decimal 2 over. The decimal is now at the end of the 5. We're going to move it 2 over, 1, 2. Now I have 1.25, I've moved the decimal, times my whole, which is 64. And if we put that in our calculator, the answer is 8. Is that reasonable? Is my number going to be more or less than the original number that I started with? It's going to be more because I've got 1.25. So I've actually got 1, which you can take 64, and then add another 0.25. So you could do it either way to make that 80 as well. So, continuing, and we have a total of 9 examples. We have a total of 9 examples. I would like you all to try to do this yourselves, and then I'll discuss your answers. Just take a minute and try to do this yourself. Remember to move the decimal and then multiply it by the whole. Move the decimal 2 places to the left, multiply it times your whole. Does anyone want to share their answer? Matt, do you have an answer? 51.3. Does that look reasonable? Is it less than 76? Should 67% be less than 76? Yeah. So it looks reasonable. That's good. Thank you. Yeah. Looks do with that 1/4? What am I gonna do with that 1/4? She's gonna turn it into 2/5 and add it on the end of the 20. Very good, thank you.
So is it 2025?
How'd you get the
Where is my
25?
Good point. Where is my decimal? If I'm turning 20 and 1/4, and you said the 1/4 is worth 0.25, right?
Where did she
Oh,
get that
0.25
0.25 from? How did she know?
By dividing 1 by 4.
Oh, thanks.
And some of you have memorized a couple of those
This
conversions.
is hard.
So it's 20.25.
So it's gonna be
I know what it
20.25. Then you're gonna convert that into your decimal, because it's 20.25%, right? And so it's 20.25 over 100, if you wanna do it. And then you simply, move that decimal place 2 points over. So you're just gonna have a longer number. It's not just a longer number to multiply with. And the answer times 3. We're gonna have a really big number, but yes, Richard?
Small.
Small number. Did anybody figure it out?
0.6075.
Yep. We can round that to 0.61, 0.6075. Very good. Okay, and now we have 4/5. How am I gonna convert that? Just like I did my quarter, 4/5 converts into,
4.5.
if that's a good guess because you're using both of the numbers, right? Is that the same thing as 4/5 of 500?
Yeah.
No. So if you use your calculator, 4 divided by 5 is equal to 0.6.
0.8.
Sorry, 0.8. 0.8.
Do a quick teacher leadership.
I should.
I thought it was 0.45. I was with you.
So keeping on track, 0.8. So if it's 0.8%, we can't forget to convert that into a percent, can we? So we have to move that decimal place 2 places over. And now we have 0.008 times 500. And the answer is only, does anybody have an answer?
4.
4. A really, really, really small amount, because it's not even 1%. Okay? Number 8, 0.25 of 80. Am I just going to take that and fill in a couple of zeros? So I've got 1, 2 zeros times my whole. And that's equal to, does anybody have that answer? Yes. 0.2. Awesome. So that, again, a really small number, because it's even less than 1% of the number we're looking for. Now we're going to do something fun, and we're going to tie in, I know that you guys have been doing the Civil War with Mr. Godotsky, and we're going to tie it in with number 9, and we're going to use some historical facts, real facts, from the wars that we've had. And the total number of lives lost from World War I to the Vietnam War are shown in this graph. And you can see that the Civil War is 620,000. The total lives lost, because I don't want you guys to spend too much time just calculating the number, but the total lives lost were 1,271,000. This just takes us through the Vietnam War. What percentage of total lives lost were just in the Civil War? What two numbers am I gonna be working with? Who can tell me? Which two numbers? How many lives were lost in the Civil War?
That big number.
Yep. 620,000 lives lost in the Civil War. How many lives were lost total? Is this my part? Is this my whole?
Can I cross out the zeros?
Absolutely. A lot of you will cross out all the zeros.
Is this the way you move the decimal?
So you'll calculate this and tell me what the answer is. 620 divided by 1270. What answer do you get?
0.4878048878.
0.48 or more, right? Does 0.48 convert into a percentage? Now we're going backwards, right? What percentage would that be?
48.
Just like we went to the left before, now we're moving two places to the right. And now, isn't that unbelievable? 48% of the lives lost go all the way back to the Civil War. All right. Does anybody have any questions about changing those fractions into percentages? Give me a thumbs up if you think you've got it. Just if you think you've got it. Give me a thumbs down. I see a couple that would like to do a few more. Thumbs down if you really don't understand it at all. So most of us are fairly good with the information, but we might want a little more review. Here's what I'd like you to do. Before you start on your homework, those of you that need a little extra help, I'd like you to partner, pair, share. Anyone that had their thumb turned sideways, Alicia and John, Mackenzie and Sam, why don't you guys partner, pair, share, and try to, there's only three questions here.
You don't?
No.
And
I wanna do it,
before I
John.
give you your homework worksheet, what I'd like you to do is show me your answer
No, we're together.
to these questions. The first one is just to solve and write the steps to find 210%. Remember what I'm going to do with that percentage to turn it into a decimal to find my answer.
Do we have to write that graph?
And then you do not have to draw this graph. Just show me what numbers you use, show me your work, and then when you get it correct, or come up and show me, and if you have it correct, I'll give you your homework worksheet. If you can do this work, then you will be able to do your homework. And you know, as always, I like you to start your homework here. I don't want you working on anything else or chatting. Start your homework here so that I can help you. If you get stuck, if you're not confident that you're doing it the right way, I'll come around and just make sure you get the boost that you need to keep working. All right? And I also will give you Crusader Cash when you finished your exit question with your homework worksheet. Okay? So try to work on this, do the partner pair share, and teach each other how to do this. What I've done is I've added all the little tiny numbers over here so that you have battle deaths, disease, and then all others. So you do not have to worry about adding up all the real numbers. John.
We need help. She doesn't know how to do it.
I know. When do we move it to the right and when do we move it to the left? That's what I'm confused about. You're moving all to the left right notes, now and also we're moving it to the right.
All of a sudden you move it to the right. So you're moving it to the left when you're changing it, right? From your percentage to your decimal. But it makes sense if you just first change it into a fraction, and then it'll make sense to do it. So let's take your first question.
Okay.
210% of 30. Write down your numbers. If you made a fraction out of 210%, what would that look like?
2 over 10.
No,
Close.
210 over 100.
210 over 100, because remember it's the percentage over the 100. right?
Yes.
So now, all you have to do is reduce that, or use your calculator and come up with over 10. So if I move my decimal 1 to the left, I have 2.1. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I moved it to the right, I'm back at 210, aren't
So
I?
when I'm given the percentage, I move it to the left. When I have to find the percentage, I
Then you move it to the right.
I'm picking up your down. Then I just times this by 30.
Did you understand?
Yeah, I got it, sure.
Good. And you wrote it down. Thank you. That's really good. Good writing it down. Any questions over here? Helping each other?
Yes.
Good. Awesome. I will go get my Crusader cash.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, I just got to do that. Yeah, well, I have to do both. I'm like, 2 days, one time. Okay.
That box, is that the entire sum of that circle?
Yes. I do not want you all wasting your time adding up all the little numbers, so I simply added them for
But I
you.
guess it's on the little numbers anyways.
Remember, come up to me when you have your exit questions done. I'll check them off and give you your homework and give you more Crusader cash.
Yay. Oh, did you? Look at children first every time.
I added those all together, all the others are equal to 49,000. Yeah, I didn't want you to have to waste your time.
Did you guys have that?
You quietly finished? So you wrote. Very good. 210% 30.
Oh, that's
60. Awesome. Pencils, paper, snacks. Good job. You worked hard. You done? Let's see your answers.
Yeah,
63,
John taught
awesome.
me a different way.
Okay. How did he do that?
Cross multiplication.
Cross multiply. That's
Yeah.
good.
Is
That
that
works
okay?
too.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was really good.
Oh,
Thank
you
you.
finished with
I was
yours.
legit confused, like I'm not faking this, I was
Yeah.
literally
Yeah,
wondering.
like why are we moving it?
Was this our homework?
That's your homework. Now that you did your bell work and you did it correctly, there's your homework.
Great.
And your Crusader cash. How are we doing over here? Do we still need a little bit of help?
Wow.
We're good?
Mackenzie helped me. She's very smart.
Awesome.
Matt helped us too.
You guys got it right.
Yeah.
So you get Crusader
Right,
cash
Matt?
too.
Matt helped homework too.
Yes, that's your homework. Start your homework now and make sure you have any questions on that.
You're putting this together.
So the disease rates were higher than the animal.
Good job. Raise your hand if you have any questions on the homework.
Is there a way to check my answer?
I just checked your answer and gave you a Crusader cash, so. Actually did work out. So did everyone get, well, I went around and checked it. Raise your hand if you have any questions on the homework. Is it okay getting started on the homework?
Yeah.
Is it fine?
Awesome.
This is homework?
Thank
That's homework.
Yeah. Good working together.
He's a good partner. Can I do it
Oh.
for every time?
You serious?
You get,
Yeah.
you know, if you both
Mrs.
have
Dye.
questions, you're welcome to work together. You work together well, that suits me. Yes. Oh, one question over here, we're done.
Did you get see?
Yeah, it's just scrap paper.
Okay, I was like,
It was scrap
I
paper
don't
on the
get it,
recycle.
this guy.
Oh, I didn't even look at what the content was. I was like, I'm gonna take it home.
Is that mine?
Lindsay?
Oh, she's setting an alarm. I was like, geez, Ursula, yours is mean.
Maybe